Rudyard Griffiths here, the publisher of The Hub. Welcome to this, a video series we're doing in partnership with the Business Council of Alberta. Pleasure to welcome onto the program its president, Adam Legge. Adam, welcome.
Thanks so much, Rudyard. Pleasure to be here.
Always great to talk with you. The council has so many thoughtful, innovative ideas about the potential for Canada's future growth and how we achieve prosperity together. And I want to dig in today to your new policy initiative. It's called A Strong Canada, A Good Life. And to help you unpack this for our viewers, we're going to put a quote board up, a statement from you that I think gets to the essence of what you're dealing with in this new project, A Strong Canada, A Good Life. You are saying, quote, Canada has everything it needs to succeed, but for too long, bad policy has held us back. I'm going to talk about the bad policy in a moment, but let's first begin on a positive note. What are the preconditions? What are the things out there that you think are the basis for future success on the part of the country?
Well, Rudyard, I look at this beautiful piece of land that we have on the planet that is Canada. I think of all of the entrepreneurs, the innovators that we have, the natural resources, whether that is the food we can grow, the forestry, the minerals that we have, the oil and gas resources that we have, the incredible spirit of Canadians in terms of wanting to help each other, wanting to ensure that there's a good life across our country. It's an ethos of equalization, and we share, we help each other. In fact, we have people seeking to come here from all around the world to live a better life. Those are the things that are the foundations, the source code of an incredible country, of incredible prosperity, of incredible opportunity. And we have people coming to our shores, leaders from across the world coming to our shores asking, share your resources with us. We are in a time of need. Please bring us your food, your fiber, your minerals, your oil and gas. We need them. And I mean, what other testament is there when you have not only people flocking, but other countries wanting to access the talents and the skills and the resources that a country has? So I other than the right environment to enable investment and job creation, I can't think of what else we would need. We have everything we need.
Well, let's talk about what are some of the things that the Business Council feels that has held us back and why policy matters, Adam, because I think a lot of people are often think, hey, I don't know, I got 1,001 things to do on my agenda. Why should I care about policy? Why does policy matter? Why does the Business Council of Alberta spend so much time focusing on trying to get policy right?
Yeah. I view policy, Rudyard, it sets the table. It's the place setting for good decisions and good investments and good opportunities to happen. If we've got a table that doesn't have, if we sit down for dinner, it doesn't have a fork, if it doesn't have a glass to drink something out of, you really can't achieve what you want, which is a satisfying meal. Same way in a policy environment. If you don't have those right policy tools in front of you, you can't encourage investment to happen. You can't encourage jobs to be created. You can't bring the best and most talented people to the country to contribute to our economic success. So policy really sets the table for how, from our standpoint, from a private sector standpoint, how business is going to make its decisions with respect to investment, with respect to growth. It is either an enabler or it's a brake. And so good policy enables us to move forward. It's an accelerator. Bad policy acts as a brake on the opportunities. And so we, for far too long, have seen too much of the brake on a public policy environment and has made decisions that have gone elsewhere, or has put us in a position where we're seeing an eroding quality of life, an eroding productivity record, and an eroding economic performance, which hurts every Canadian across this country.
Your project, A Strong Canada, Good Life, is really about implementable policy. So explain the difference between maybe some of the public policy that, people hear about, I don't know, a flat tax on one hand, or, hey, we may achieve it. Let's see this time free trade across Canada. But Adam, as I understand it, what you're trying to do here is something more nuanced, potentially more impactful, which is to say, what's policy that can actually become the operating code, that new software that's going to power growth?
One of the things that is easy to do in policy is to come up with sort of broad statements like let's improve productivity or let's make Canada more competitive. Those are very broad statements. What we're trying to do here is actually give government ideas that are implementable. They're supported by the private sector, but also part and parcel of our project is to really try and find those things that we believe Canadians also believe deeply in right now. And we're in a moment of time where Canadians are feeling a lot of pressure from affordability. They're feeling pressure about the cost of housing. They're feeling pressure about their economic prospects. Will I be richer next year than I was this year? We're seeing now an immense pressure and threat from the United States and what that will do for Canadian jobs and the economy. And for far too long, we haven't focused on some of those things that will enable Canadians to feel that they can lead a good life and a better life next year than they did compared to this year. And so we're trying to find things that are implementable, that are endorsed and supported by Canadians, by business sector, but also are ones that we know that we have a fiscal challenge in this country and ones that aren't always about more money. They're about making things more efficient and streamlining and making better choices and better criteria of how we bring in new Canadians in terms of the talent pool we have in front of us across the globe. So what we're also trying to do is make sure this doesn't add more fiscal challenge to an already strained federal budget. So when you bring all of that together, we think that there's some practicality, some pragmatic things that can be done that have been, in some instances, long called for. But in many other instances are ones that were staring us newly in the face, largely, say, from the threats of the U.S.
Let's talk about these three pillars. We're going to have a series of continuing conversations with you and the good folks at the Council about A Strong Canada, Good Life, and drill deeper into some of its individual policy recommendations and ideas. But let's wrap up this interview by giving our audience a sense of, what are the foundations, the three legs to the stool here that you're building in terms of the direction, the thrust of these policy reforms overall?
Yeah, we believe that a strong Canada and a good life really needs a strong economy. That's the underpinning of what would enable us to say we've achieved that strong Canada, we've achieved that good life. And so we believe that strong economy comes when we do three things. It's when we build and trade. That means things like unleashing our natural resources sector, helping provide the world with food, with fiber, minerals, materials, oil and gas, and energy. They're coming to our shores asking for it. We should be providing it to the world in a responsible way. How we help Canadians and Canadian goods reach new markets. We are now realizing how dependent we were on the United States, and we now need to not only fix the relationship there and continue to do a robust trade with the States, but also look elsewhere. So we need to fix our rail infrastructure, our port infrastructure, and our pipeline infrastructure. It's how do we streamline Canada's major project approval processes? Those are some of the barriers that are not costly to fix, but are just pure bureaucratic barriers that get in the way. It's also when we invest in ourselves. It's training Canadians for good jobs. It's fixing our immigration system so we're able to select the best, brightest to come to Canada and contribute and settle in a meaningful and thoughtful way. It's about advancing our Indigenous reconciliation. We're seeing tremendous strides with equity participation in a number of projects, a number of them here in Alberta. But how do we continue to advance economic reconciliation with Indigenous peoples? And finally, it's when we compete and win. We have to focus, laser, relentless focus on competitiveness. We are going to face a significant challenge with our friends south of the border as they try and increase and improve their competitiveness and attractive position. So how do we make sure that Canada's things like its tax code, its technology and innovation policy is able to compete in the global stage? We have to retract and repeal bad policies we put in place, like oil and gas emissions caps and clean electricity regulations and tanker moratoriums on the West Coast. All of these things that don't make sense for Canada right now. And finally, it's about thoughtful and pragmatic environmental policy. How do we make sure that we protect our environment, but also recognize that we can do things like develop our resources and achieve environmental targets, and think more globally about global emissions and Canada's place in global emissions as opposed to just domestic emissions. So it's when we build and trade, when we invest in ourselves, and when we compete and win, that's when we'll see a strong Canada and a good life for Canadians.
Well, Adam Legge, President of the Business Council of Alberta, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some thoughts about the intention, the purpose, the drive behind a strong Canada, a good life. It's an important project. We look forward to following it closely here at the Hub. Let's do this again.
Thanks, Rudyard.
Well, that wraps up our conversation with Adam Legge, the President of the Business Council of Alberta. We hope you enjoyed this first video and what will be a continuing series with the Council and the Hub. Please go to our website, www.thehub.ca, for more information on the series, or visit our YouTube channel. Simply search for The Hub Canada. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.